This is Powering KC, a podcast by PLS about the people, projects, and businesses shaping Kansas City. We are Kyle and Jessica, local business owners, a husband and wife team, and the people behind PLS. Around here, we believe that local matters. So we're sitting down to talk about solar, business, family, community, and the stories behind the work. Let's get started. Hello and welcome to our very first PLS pilot podcast. Today we're going to just be talking about how we started as a company and kind of how things are working together as a husband and wife and owning a business together. Do you want to start talking about our business?
Well, we started in 2017 and we started as a consulting company. So back then, we were doing just a couple projects, but more so I was focused on helping other solar companies grow. And at that point, a lot of local owners and business owners and just friends and family started asking if we could help them with solar as well. And once we started picking up that momentum, Jess joined into 2021.
You're missing a key part of the story, though.
Please tell me.
We had so much interest, but we hadn't really thought about doing just solar installs. We were really, like you said, just doing the consulting stuff. But as people became more interested, we spent about a year discussing it. It took us a while to actually decide this is what we're going to do. But then, of course, I spearheaded that whole shift. No, I'm just kidding.
Of course.
I mean, I did, but I did.
He did.
But I joined PLS and then, we just started doing really 90% solar installs and very little consulting.
I started letting a lot of clients go. It was taking the focus away from the people that we're truly trying to help versus the companies that were nationwide. And so we still have clients that we're still servicing, but it's not at the volume that it used to be.
From a consulting perspective.
From a consulting perspective. Yeah. So now we are focused on helping those in the Midwest, not just Kansas City, add solar to their property and take advantage of all the benefits of it and then all the subsidies and everything that's currently there. And Jess has really helped us with making us look very nice, but also strategically aligning us with the right partners.
So that's kind of how we got started. We rebranded in 2021, and that's when we made the shift, like we said, to just doing solar installs. I spent like a week building our website and it didn't look that great, but it was okay for the time being. Started our social media account, which has been really fun because we use that to connect with our community a lot. I've even convinced Kyle to get on camera, which it took many years to get him to be on camera. So that's fun because I think that the biggest thing that we know about Kansas City from being Kansas City natives, growing up here our whole lives, and Kyle's family has been here for generations, is that local is king, and everybody really loves to get to know the people behind the local businesses, and we love to get to know other local business owners too. So that's why we're doing this, so that everyone can get to know us, kind of understand our why. Helping our community is a big reason why we do this, and giving back to the community. But it's a cool thing to be involved in. So
I think a big reason of why we do this is because there's a lot of things in this world that you can take control of, whether it's producing and growing your own food or even providing heat for your house via fires or whatever it is. If you don't like gas prices, you go get an electric vehicle, right? Or hybrid or whatever the case may be. But what we've learned is that everyone generally lives in a house or an apartment or something somewhere, and
owns a building
for their business, and there's really no option in Kansas City, or particularly in the Midwest, to pick which utility you purchase your energy from.
It's a monopoly.
We're all pretty much stuck with one choice, and I think we've all just become accustomed to just switching over utilities or just paying the bill each month.
Dealing with the rate hikes and
so a big part of our why is to provide all of our customers and people just like another option of what Jess coined, taking your power back.
Or sticking it to the man.
And just being able to see another option for yourself and to be able to provide your own power and just have a more sustainable future in that way.
Yeah, and we always wanted to own our own business. We both have always known that. Kyle comes from a long line of entrepreneurs, and I just have always known that I wanted to own my own business, so it made sense for us to go into business together. And it might be fun to talk about how it is owning a business with your spouse.
Well, I think what a lot of people don't know is that we also homeschool our kids.
Yep.
So that poses a challenge because family is as important as business for us.
Yeah.
We're a very Christian-focused family and business as well, so we keep that at the front end.
Yep.
And I think that sometimes juggling all of those things is really challenging, but on the flip side, if you participate in everything in your business and your income and your livelihood with your spouse and your best friend, then at the end of the day, everything works out.
Yeah, it's been fun to show our kids this life of, it can be really hard to juggle sometimes, but showing them how to be entrepreneurs and that you can kind of do all these things that you want to do and still live the life that you want to live, per se. But what about working with me, though? How do you like that?
Well,
this is what the people want.
Yes, I know.
They want to know.
Jess is always right. And I think it provides another perspective. So when we first started going to a lot of meetings and Jess started joining in 2021, I was kind of taking charge and just focusing more on the financial part of it and why it's good for them. And Jess came in and was like, no, we need to connect better with all of our customers or just people we're talking to and networking. And I think that in turn, even though we've always been this way, is it's just also brought the relationship with our clients at the forefront rather than just kind of a part of the process. And so I think what it's created is a huge level of trust with our customers. And Jess is one of those people that if you meet her in an elevator or somewhere else, they're going to tell you, or they're going to tell her their life story.
It's just always been an anomaly to Kyle.
We don't really understand it.
Anywhere we go.
But Jess connects really well with people. So while I'm over here looking at someone's roof and talking to the homeowner, she's probably going to be over there playing with her chickens. And so,
or goats.
Or goats, yeah. So, but I think at the end of the day, I think two perspectives is way better than one. And I'm generally more focused and analytical on certain things.
That's
where Jess is more excited about those things, but also about just making you feel good that you're making a good decision.
I think too, what's I've found to be super helpful, because he is the solar expert and he's been doing this for so long now, almost 14 years. When you know something that well, sometimes it's really hard to dumb it down for people that don't understand it. I don't like saying dumb it down, but I just make it, But when we go on meetings together, I can be really helpful because you'll see him talking about super technical stuff and the light bulb starts to dim in potential clients' heads. And I'm like, oh, let me explain it in a way that I understand, because there's still specific things. I understand a lot about solar now, but there's still some things that my brain just doesn't work that way. And that's why we work, and that's why this works. But it also helps our clients, because there's some clients that understand all this technical stuff because their brain works that way. And then there's other clients or potential clients that don't. So I can help bridge the gap between that understanding, I feel like.
For sure. After college, I did commercial real estate and real estate development. And I think that helped me grow a network of people within Kansas City, and I eventually got added to a team in Kansas City, which became the largest solar company in the Midwest. And there I ran operations and procurement for that company. And so through that company, I was able to grow in the industry, get to know all the people in the industry, learn how to manage a team in the industry, what works, what doesn't work. And I think since then, and a lot of us left in 2016, and we did our own thing, and a lot of other people did their own thing. I think, that kind of opened the door for me to do my own thing. And that's when we started PLS Consulting and just trying to help other companies grow like that, like how my company did, or the company I worked for back then. And then like what Jess was saying is we transitioned to doing a couple projects here and there in addition to focusing on clients. And then Jess joined in 2021, and that's really when we started focusing more on the project-based side of things. And back then we were doing we kind of focused more so on the people we knew, and just did actually one post that we're doing this, and then that turned into like all these people that came out.
Yeah, I think I posted on like a Facebook, I did a Facebook post, and someone I knew that had a farm reached out to us, and they had already gotten a bid from someone else. Ours was slightly lower, but they just trusted us more. Lower. Was it? Yes. Oh, okay. Well, they trusted us more anyway because she knew us. So they were like our second client after the transition of me joining. And then she referred us to 2 other people. And
then some other people I knew that wanted to do it, and they've been thinking about it. And then I started thinking about like all my business contacts and my real estate contacts. And then that transitioned to a couple of developers that we work with and we still work with today. And then, it's just kind of grown into this like evolving referral cycle of a lot of people that we've realized. I think a lot of people, everyone's heard of solar. A lot of people from that group have really been like, I really want to learn more and so we focus on education part of it. And so we try to educate as many people as possible.
We started with smaller projects, like smaller farms and houses. And then I think it was the end of 2022, we did the American Electric Lofts in St. Joe, Missouri, which was a larger project and was very cool because it was, like a rehabbed American Electric building that's now lofts. And that was a big growth moment for us. We were excited to get that project and help them go solar.
But just to be clear though, I've been doing commercial solar projects for other people for like the last decade before that.
Sure, but as a company, as our PLS company, that was a big one for us that kind of transitioned us to doing more commercial work, which we do a healthy mix of both, but generally more commercial now. So that was kind of the shift for us at the end of 2022. Because in 2023, we did a big project in Salina for OPG, our Overland Property Group, and they did 3 buildings. How much solar? 130?
Each was like 45 kW.
Yeah. So
we've just been focusing more on that, which translates well with how the market is today, where it's more commercial focused just because of all the tax credits that are available only for the commercial side, or these commercial entities. And so, I think all in all, I've been a part of over 1,500 solar projects in my career. And I think that now that we're doing more of those for ourselves, it's just an easier transition. And they're really no different than the residential piece of it, except they're just much larger.
I think one of our biggest years was 2025 because we finished up the Merriam Grand Station project. We had some big commercial projects. And we also did some farms and houses, and it was just such a good mix of everything. But it was kind of one of those moments where we looked back at where we started, and then we realized like how far we've come as a company. And so that's where we're at today. And then my background, I started off my career at Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City, and I worked in the marketing department there. I started in communications for a specific health department called A Healthier You, and then I transitioned to marketing for several different departments, and I did that for 4.5 years, I guess. So I got a lot of experience working in the marketing space and learning all about different ways to market yourself via print, video. Helped a little bit get the social media started back in I think 2009 or 2010. But I had already been learning a lot about social media. So that has transitioned a lot from that. And then owning my own business prior to this helped me a lot kind of learn about different ways to connect with your audience and different ways to connect with potential clients and how to market ourselves differently. But I also think for me, something that I wanted to do to set us apart as a company was to focus on us as a husband and wife or family-owned business, and to make it more personal and to really like make it fun. No shade to other solar companies, but a lot of them are super serious or really don't, like, you don't know who owns the company. And I think for us, like, just making it personal and helping people get to know us, it really helps with that level of trust. But this is who we are, and that's what we want to show. So
fortunately, I've consulted with 15 plus clients over since 2016, 2017, and I've got to see, they hired us for a reason because
other solar companies. Yeah.
They've hired us for a reason because, they were struggling or needed another perspective or wanted to tighten up their procurement practices. And what I've learned with a lot of them is that, especially nowadays, is that it's very transactional. And I think that what they want to do is they want to create as many leads as possible, whether it's through ads or door knocking or whatever.
Yeah.
And X amount of leads turns into X amount of deals and
X amount of dollars.
And what I've also learned is that it's somewhat, it has turned into a very marketing gimmick type industry where everyone's just trying
kind of marketing.
No, but everyone's just trying to like one up each other. So they're just over promising and under deliver. And so I think what I'm proud of is that we've kind of just stuck to where we're at and what we've always done really well, and just have been upfront, honest, super conservative in our estimates and in our projections. And I think people really appreciate that because there's a lot of the marketing gimmicky things that a lot of people fall for, no upfront payment and pay over 25 years, and you can go down that. Like it's just predatory, a lot of predatory stuff.
Loans and fees and all of that stuff.
But like I said, we must do a great job of like portraying trust, because I think that I would say at least 30% of our deals, maybe more, come from someone who's already talked to another solar company.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, I want to gain another perspective. And we talk to them and they're like, wow, like not only were we potentially getting charged way too much, but I didn't realize all these other options were available, which were significantly less.
Yeah.
Or they were overpromising.
Or they seemed sketchy to them, or
they were inflating numbers, or whatever the case may be. And so I think we've done a really good job of just portraying like, hey, you can call us, and whether you do solar with us or not, like we have the tenured, experience to just try to steer you the right way.
Well, and I think that's also a big reason why we got started. And that was a big part of Kyle's why, is because of a lot of the things that he was seeing. And then, the first several clients that we had, they had looked into solar, couldn't really find a client or a company that they trusted, and they trusted us. And
that first deal you're talking about, they were going to get charged $52,000, I think, for their deal, and we charged them $40,000.
Right.
So it was 25% less, and we gave them an in-phase system, which is more expensive.
Right.
And they were, really happy about it.
Yeah.
And then that translated to all these other networking people that they know that were also interested.
Well, I think part of what sets us apart, really, is that we have such low overhead, and we do that on purpose because we want to be able to pass that onto our clients. So we do whatever we can to keep our own costs low so that we can also be the trusted, more affordable option. It's not always the case. It depends on the projects, but generally we are, and that's because of how we've set up our business. So
Well, I think when anyone hires someone, I think a lot of people might view it as like, we're buying something from you, but I think we've done a good job of portraying the fact that we're doing this together.
It's like a partnership.
So we're like, our billing milestones for every contract is like as we need it or as it comes in the project, rather than like a whole lot ballooned up front or whatever, or at the back end or whatever.
Sure.
And so,
but people are also working with us too,
But I was gonna say,
which
but,
is a big piece
you
of
know,
it.
we're communicating with them the whole time where their project is, and this is where Evergy's delay is, or whatever it is, if there is one.
Which isn't the industry standard. In most cases, when you're going solar, you're working with a project manager. You probably would never meet the owner. That's not every company, but like we are getting to know the clients for the most part, unless they, we are doing some projects that are a little further away now, but most of the time we're getting to know our clients. Like Kyle said, sometimes I'm out there like playing with chickens or goats or cats. Like we actually get to know them and what they do. And I think that's another thing that's different, is that we really like to connect with the people that are trusting us, because we feel so grateful for that trust, and we want to make sure that we have a good relationship with our clients.
But even like our subcontractors too, right?
Yeah.
Like even like the homeowner will ask them to wire their EV chargers, or we have other commercial clients where they did a completely LED retrofit, and we aren't involved in that, but we are so happy that we're able to create that relationship for them.
For sure.
So it's not just us. There's obviously a team of people that we utilize for all of our projects, but fortunately we've hand selected them. And
all those people that we work with, all of our subcontractors are people that you've been working with for
12 or 13 years.
12 plus
So
years,
these are all, this is not 2 men in a truck. There's
nothing wrong with 2 men in a truck.
Sometimes, but honestly, I think these are really good people that we hire that also have the same beliefs and standards that we have.
Yeah.
So I think our ideal client, at least in this current landscape, is really anyone that is wanting to have energy independence. I think that even though we are more focused on the commercial projects, we're also utilizing or still performing on personal properties for people that have commercial entities that can purchase the projects, because those are where the tax credits are still available. There are still a subset of people that do recognize the energy independence that we're providing. And just the other day, yesterday or 2 days ago, I talked to a family that's not moving anytime soon, and they're
South
looking
Casey.
looking at adding solar to their property. So, I think our ideal customer, at least for now, is it can still be anyone, because we want to lead with education. I think everyone deserves the opportunity to kind of learn what's out there and what's the landscape.
I don't think it's anyone because of like the HOA stuff.
That's true.
That's what is a big barrier. So the majority of our residential, the rural clients, it's not going to be an HOA, but the majority of our residential clients live in areas where there are not HOAs.
True.
Unfortunately, the HOAs are a big barrier. There is some legislation in the works, I believe, to change that and to help HOAs start adopting and allowing solar, or at least considering it. But that's a big barrier, because most neighborhoods, especially new neighborhoods, our neighborhood has an HOA. And so the HOAs don't allow solar, and that keeps a lot of people from going solar.
Sure.
So
that's the residential side. And then the commercial side is really just business owners, like owner users is what we say on the commercial side. So not something, it works still if you're in a leased space and you're a tenant and you're going to be there for a long time. That works fine, but generally it's the owners of a business that are contacting us to continue business with solar. Yeah. So we do have a lot of farms too that we've been talking about. I think 100% of it has been a business entity or some kind of LLC or S Corp that's been buying it for the farm.
Which a lot of farms have those, because they sell products or whatnot.
And the benefit of that is you just get additional tax incentives if it's a commercial entity. And so after 2025, there is no residential tax credit anymore if you're buying it as an individual person. Right. But as a commercial entity on whichever structure it is, you do get the tax credit still, the 30% tax credit, plus you can depreciate the asset as well. So I think
the depreciation's not going away.
Depreciation will be there.
Still be
it's
around.
Still an asset. Yeah.
Yeah.
But for the next 2 years, you still get that 30% tax credit, which seems to be very enticing to most people, because at this point now it's looked at as like free money before it runs out, versus where it's just, I mean, the tax credit's been available since the George Bush administration. So it's not really
it's really driven the industry.
I mean, it's a political thing, but it's through all the political changes, it's been continued, and it's just been continued, I guess, through all the political changes. And so I think extended is the word I was thinking. It's been extended. And so now, under the current administration, there is a change where the tax credit will end at the end of 2027. So that's
for business entities.
For business
because
entities.
The residential already is gone.
So that's the huge push right now, and I think that's where a lot of people are getting really excited about it. And if there's any interest at all, they're contacting us and wanting to learn more.
And like you said, there's still a lot of people that see the benefit of solar, even if they're a residential property and they obviously can't take the tax credits anymore. If someone knows that they're going to be on their house long term or on their property long term, it's still something to consider, because as there's new data centers being built and power plants, all the rates are going to change. And I mean, Evergy's already put out notice that rates are going to go anywhere from 10 to 20%. And so annual increase, which is a huge increase.
Historically, it's been 8% or about 8%, 8 to 10%.
Right. So once we get to those numbers, it's going to make sense for, really anybody at that point, because, for example, we're looking at a project in Arizona right now that reached out to us, and their rate was 21 cents per kilowatt hour. Is that right?
Which is double here.
Which is double current cost in the Kansas City area. For the most part, it depends on where you're located, but their payback was still going to be really great despite everything. So
it was less than here, much less than here.
So really, we have several different subsets of clients. We have the clients that simply do it for the tax incentives and the money savings, like the monthly savings, and being able to see those numbers of like your first year, this is how much approximately you're going to produce, and then by 25 years, here's what you're going to do. And then you have another subset of people that really want to take control over their energy production, because, as we said earlier, sticking it to the man and not wanting to have to rely on these energy companies and have to pay all their rate hikes. And actually, we met with somebody many years ago who gave us that slogan, which was cool. So, and then you have another subset of people who, there's really four, but there's another subset of people who love the technology, think it's super cool, love techie stuff. They have electric cars. They, do all of that stuff. They like it for the tech of it, and obviously all the other things it does. And then the fourth subset of people is the environmental group. And some of our clients have several of these, all four, two of these different categories. But, we've found that to be like everyone has their main driver, and some really come from the environmental piece, some come from the financial. It just really depends.
Yep.
So, all right, well, we're going to answer some common questions that we get asked about solar. The first one is pretty simple. Does solar actually work? So I'm going to let you answer that one.
Solar works. Otherwise, I would think people would not do it.
That just made me think of the brand It Works. Do you remember that with the saran wrap? Sorry.
Oh, no. Yes, Anyway, back on topic.
Solar works.
So solar does actually work. There's a reason why utilities are investing into this, owner users, like we talked about before, businesses are investing in this, and then obviously homeowners. Solar, I used to know the stats, but I mean, millions of people have it. If it wasn't working, if it didn't work, it wouldn't be an industry. It wouldn't employ hundreds of thousands of people. Yeah. And it would have created thousands of companies.
If you go to like Hawaii, Arizona, all the places that have, high, California, a lot of, sun. Yeah. I don't even know how to say that, but more sunny days than not. You see a lot of solar.
Higher utility rates.
Yeah. Sure.
Yes.
But yeah, there's, those areas wouldn't have solar if it didn't work.
I think this question comes from industry questions of just having bad actors out there. I think it's a hot topic sometimes in the news of like someone got scammed, and sometimes that's a solar company that had really bad practices and was out just for sales.
Or just literally con artists that just want to take people's money.
But what you'll find with good actors and our company and other ones, frankly, is that it's a great long-term investment. People see the benefit right away. In fact, we have tons of customers that shoot me their utility bills every month just to show me how low it is.
Yeah, we have a collection of those.
And these are highly skeptical people, by the way.
Oh, for sure.
People that attorneys and just business owners and whatever. I mean, they just love the fact that we can flip the switch, and then they have an app that they can monitor it, and then in 30 days it translates to their bill, and they're like, wow. And in most cases, we always hear from our customers that it's actually paying itself faster than what we told them, which is kind of how we lead our company, which is wanting to exceed expectations.
We're very conservative in how we give estimates, for sure.
So does solar work? Absolutely. I think it's a solid investment with the right people and the right products.
I think one thing we've seen is like the skeptics. It's kind of like when you don't want a dog and your spouse is like, but please, can we get a dog? And then you get a dog, and then the spouse that didn't want the dog is like the best friend. It's kind of like that. I know that's a weird analogy, but it's kind of like that. Like we had a client in Stillwell who his wife was like pretty opposed to solar, and now she's like team solar, loves it. They've even considered adding more because it's working so well, and they were a new build, and so some of the we didn't know how much power they were going to actually use, and they could actually add more. But anyway, when the skeptics come back and they are wanting more, or they're the ones going, we love this so much, that it's a product that actually works.
100%.
So, another question that we get asked is, how long does solar last?
So as an industry, we look at solar in a 25-year window. That used to be the standard, and that was because solar panels are warranted for 25 years from a production perspective. I think, what I know is that we've changed technology within the solar panel, and so now most panels are warranted for at least 30, if not 35 years now. So, but we look at it in a 25-year window. So we still do. And generally, we look at your solar panels, we look at the inverters, which converts the sun's energy from AC to DC, actually DC to AC, I said that backwards. And then we look at the racking that holds the solar panels. So collectively, a lot of our systems have extended warranties to go up to 25 years or beyond. And so when we look at solar, we look at that. There's a lot of white papers done by local companies like Black & Veatch on each solar panel, and they will say the degradation is actually really great. And in year 25 or 26, it's still producing over 88% of what it did 25 years prior.
And this is not all solar panels, though. This is like the top tier.
They call them tier 1. And tier 1 means they're rated by a Bloomberg report in New York, and it goes through bankability, it goes through reliability. There's dozens and dozens of testing that you can do, manufacturers can do for their products. Not all of them do it. And so you have to go through all these testings to be tier 1, and that's who we use. We use those. We use top tier inverters and racking as well. Again, we procure everything and install everything to our standards as if it was on our own property.
Right.
Because that's what we want to do.
Yeah. So we want the products to last as long as possible, to do exactly what they're supposed to do. And, there's always going to be things that come up, but for the most part, we've really had no issues.
So what we tell people is that within the first year, you're going to see how it's really going to perform, and you're going to see if there's going to be any failure. So out of the box, like right when we install it, something might not fire up. Okay, we'll fix it right then and there. But also in the Midwest, mostly in Kansas City and in those areas, we see all 4 seasons, the hot, the cold, and everything, the hail, the wind, all that stuff. So generally that's when we'll see maybe a connection come loose, or maybe something, just fail because it got to negative 40 degrees. And so that's why we provide the warranties that we do as a company beyond the manufacturer warranties to make sure that the homeowner or the business or whatever is covered during all those cycles. So, but generally after that first year, I can honestly say we've seen probably very little to no failures since then. But if things happen, like you're contacting Jess or I, or you're contacting our electricians directly, and we'll just be out there to swap it out.
But so the simple answer to this question is that solar panels themselves can last anywhere from 25 to 40 years. So, yeah. The next question is it really maintenance free?
Good question. So it actually is, but just like anything else that has parts and it is producing, in this case, money for you, you want to do maintenance on it. So like I said, generally in that first year is kind of when we see if something is not tightened properly or is going to fail. But really, after that first year, most of our customers don't do anything because they can see on their app how it's producing and how everything's functioning. And so solar panels are tilted at an angle most of the time, which means any debris or anything that's on it is going to blow off, or the rain's going to blow it off. And so that keeps the panels clean. But, from a maintenance perspective, what I always suggest is maybe every 5 years you spend the $150 or whatever it is for an electrician to come out and just make sure all the connections are tight still, make sure everything has the proper voltage. I think that's a good investment.
Yeah. Probably the biggest question that we get asked is, how much does solar cost? And it's not a simple answer. It's not an off-the-shelf product. It's something that's very custom based on your home, your property, your bills, the way that your house or building is positioned. And so I'm going to let Kyle talk about all of that as far as cost goes and, even like ROI and things like that.
Well, what we have to do is basically marry multiple things, but the main thing is how much energy do you use and how much roof space do we have so that we can produce from solar panels. So generally when we start this process is we ask for a utility bill, at least one, but hopefully we get 12. And then at that point, we'll also see your address. And that's when we lay out as much solar as we can on your roof space. That makes sense. And so at that point, we can kind of gauge you guys use this much, you guys can produce this much, and we have a conversation about how we can efficiently install and procure all the materials so that it's best for you guys. And it's just a good project. So the savings is something we talk about. The savings is how we project year 1 through year 25. And then we talk about, your return on investment. How many years does it take to recoup your investment? How much tax credit are you going to get? And kind of how all that fits together. Generally, other than what the cost is, because we can't give that, but generally our customers see paybacks anywhere from 4 to maybe 7 years on the high end.
With the tax
incentives. There's just so many nuances to projects that we can't say this is what it's going to be.
No.
But generally your payback is more on the lower end, but generally the window is 4 to 7 years on the max. And then we're talking about that on a 25-year asset. So, from years 5 or 6 or whatever it is to 25, those are all profit. Those are actual just all savings after you pay yourselves back. And it's a straightforward, very simple calculation that we give.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that a lot of people expect to be able to just reach out to us and just be given a number. Sure. In fact, that happened last week. We were reached out to on Instagram by someone who wants to go solar and is interested in batteries. And it was like, well, how much is this going to cost? And, it's really a conversation, and it's us coming out to your property. We don't always have to, because we have a lot of satellite, apps that use satellite imagery and data to be able to see your property from a bird's eye. But there's so many factors that go into play, just like we were talking about how with a lot of different trades, like if you were going to have somebody come out and install wood floors for you, they can't say, well, it's going to be this much money. They've got to come out, they got to measure, you've got to pick out the product that you want because that affects your cost. And then once all of that information is compiled, they'll give you a cost. And that's kind of how it is with us too. So we have all these different things that we need to figure out is like, again, is your house positioned facing north? If so, we're really not going to recommend solar unless you really want it and you don't care about having as good of a payback if your house was, or the back roof, wherever you want to put it, is facing a different direction, because when you're facing north, your production isn't going to be as good. So there's all these little factors that come into play, and it also matters how much energy you're using at your house or your business. So yeah, we take all that information, we use that to figure out, exactly what we think it's going to cost. But then we also like to go out to your property, see the property, look at your electrical panel, talk to you, help you understand everything that goes into this, process, and really make sure it's a good fit. So
one of our first projects in 2017 was for a company locally called Piping Alloys, and Blake Well owns that company. He's become a great friend actually over time. But at that time, he was just reached out, and we just talked about his Lenexa property, and he has been, it's a second generation company. He bought it from his dad, and they have multiple locations, Arizona, Oklahoma, and Lenexa. And we just talked to him about it, and he is one that is highly skeptical from the get-go. And he also is tired of just paying a bill every month that he can't control. Right. So we talked to him about it, and at the time, I think there's maybe a set budget or something, and we did 35 kW, I think, on his business in Lenexa. And as we got underway with that, he started talking about Arizona, which at the time, I don't know what the utility rates were, but we also did the business in Arizona. And every time I talked to him after that, he would say, his bills are just so low and he loves it. But he would add machinery, or he would add something to his Lenexa property,
right,
for example.
as his business grows, the need grows, yeah.
And so what we did is we called Evergy and said, hey, we have an existing customer that wants to add more. And so I think we only added like 10 more kW, I think, because
to Arizona or
to Lenexa. Because he really just wanted to get back to zero.
Oh, I thought we added more than that. I thought it was like a decent amount.
No, it was just 10 kW.
It's hard to remember.
And so, which is like a residential system, just for sizing. It's, it's 30-ish panels probably, or probably less than that, 25 panels. But yeah, I mean, he just wanted to get to zero, and so zero bill. And so his business continued to grow, and he bought a building just down the street. And
before that, he saw the benefit for both of his businesses in Arizona and here in Lenexa. And so I think it was winter or maybe fall of 2022, he put solar on his house. Yeah. So he's actually a 4-time client of ours. Like, he just keeps coming back. He sees the benefit. He saw the benefit for his business. He saw the benefit for his house. And then when he moved to a new building, he was like, no brainer, I'm going to put solar on it.
Yeah. And I don't remember the Arizona size system. His house system's a 15 kW, I think, is what we put on there. Lenexa is 45 kW. And what we ended up putting on his new property, which is down the street, is 100 kW.
Which is a large system.
Which is twice as big.
For those of you that don't know solar, that's a very large system.
It's a large system. It's going to produce $18,000 a year in energy savings. And so, for him to, kind of take these steps with us, and then, get to know us personally, but also like keep calling us and asking us to keep helping with all of his properties. Yeah. I think that just kind of culminates as just a customer that we were able to engage from the get-go, not knowing them, to the relationship that we ultimately have with most of our customers at the end that want to be friends with us.
Which is really what we want. Like, we want those relationships to continue. You know, and it's not like that with every client, but so many of our clients we keep in touch with over time. One of our clients calls Kyle, you know, every month or two just to chat, sometimes to talk about solar, sometimes not. But we've also helped them solve a problem, which is their energy bills are too high, or they're tired of the rate hikes, or they want to be more energy independent and produce their own power. So I think that's really cool. And in Blake's, in, you know, Piping Alloy's case, we've had the honor of being able to do that 4 times. So that's pretty cool.
Yep. And that's someone that has seen it for like 8 years, right? Like 2017 to 325.
So that was before I joined the company. That was before we really moved to doing solar installs. That was when we were mostly consulting, and then Kyle was getting asked on the side to do some.
But it's just a testimony to like the longevity of solar. That was technology that was the best in 2017. And then we did a bunch of stuff in 22 or 23, whatever that was. And then, you know, like it just evolves. And so it's been a real cool relationship, but just watching his savings and getting the texts and the calls and
and he's really great. He's even let us like film content at his building, and you know, he's a really cool guy. We like building those relationships.
But the cool thing about all of our customers, I think, is the fact that like they all have their own unique story.
Yeah.
I think most of them have the same goal of wanting to save as much as possible and stop paying utility bills or do what's right or the tax credits or whatever. But really, like, the stories are just kind of endless as far as like the motivation.
It's so cool to get to know. I mean, some of the people that we've had the pleasure of working with, it's like their families have been here for generations, and you know, the things that you learn from them is just incredible. So thank you guys for listening to our very first podcast. We are Number one. We're excited to be doing this. We plan on in the future to have guests come in and talk with us, so you don't just have to listen to me and Kyle. So we're excited for this new endeavor. It's something that we're going to be doing hopefully once a month and putting out some new content. So we hope that you like it, and we'll come back and listen next time. Peace. Thanks for listening to Powering KC. If you enjoyed the conversation, follow along for more stories from local business owners, contractors, clients, and people doing meaningful work around Kansas City. And if you have questions about solar for your home, business, farm, or property, you can always reach out to the PLS team. We'll see you next time.